Okay, welcome to another lesson on some crime vocabulary. Let's start with a very important word in crime, alibi. Yeah, the alibi is the story that you give to prove to the police that you can't have committed the crime. Yeah, if you've got an alibi, that proves you are innocent, because how could you have committed the crime if you were somewhere else at the time? That's the idea. Yeah, nice rhyme there, wasn't it? So the alibi proves you were not at the scene of the crime, yeah, at the time that the crime took place, yeah, not on the night in question, you might say, and that's another good expression, on the night in question or on the day in question, meaning on the night which is under investigation, really, because there's been a murder or there's been something like that on the night in question. So hopefully you have a waterproof alibi. If you are charged with murder, you probably won't get charged with murder, because remember, you get charged with murder if they have enough evidence to charge you. And if you have a waterproof alibi, they probably don't have enough evidence to charge you. But yeah, you might say a waterproof alibi, you can say a bulletproof alibi, you can say a cast iron alibi, and all three adjectives mean an excellent alibi that nobody could question. Yeah, a really convincing, compelling alibi. An alibi that everybody believes because it's you can prove it. Maybe you've got 100 different strangers who saw you in a different place on that night, and they saw you and they took a video of you and all sorts of things. That would be a waterproof alibi. Now remember, take somebody into custody means very often put somebody in a police cell or maybe put somebody in a prison. However, remember that with youngsters, when they're taken into custody, it means they're taken into state care. It means they're looked after by the state, and maybe the state, maybe social services will find somebody to look after that child, usually because the child has been neglected. Don't forget neglect from the previous lesson, or maybe abused, which is perhaps worse than neglected. So if the evidence corroborates somebody's alibi, that means that some police decide to check someone's alibi and the evidence corroborates their alibi. Maybe it's a video camera. Yeah, maybe the video camera, the recording on the video camera corroborates the suspect's alibi. Or maybe the video recording corroborates the suspect's version of events. So to corroborate means to verify, yeah, prove that something is true, prove that something is the case, corroboration. And if you are the prime suspect, I think I've forgotten that one. Let's put that one up. I mustn't forget that. Prime suspect. If you are the prime suspect, which means the main suspect, undoubtedly the police will want to question you. They'll want to interrogate you. So you will be questioned. You will be interrogated. They don't have to be used in passive, of course. You can say they will want to question you, to interrogate you. So an interrogation is when the police fire questions at you, when they question you about where you were on the night in question, where you were when the crime took place. Okay, so I hope that you never have been the prime suspect, of course. Oh, look, I have written it. How did I miss that? Okay, it's down there. So the prime suspect is the main suspect. Okay, compelling evidence, damning evidence. This means really convincing evidence. Yeah, compelling evidence means highly persuasive. When something is compelling, it's persuasive. And when something is damning, well, if you say the evidence is damning, usually you mean against you. And damning evidence is absolutely undoubtable. You know, it's clear that the person is guilty because there is damning evidence. I'm forgetting one here. Incriminating evidence. Incriminating evidence is evidence that makes it look like you are guilty. Yeah, there is some incriminating evidence, some evidence that incriminates you, that makes you look guilty, that makes you look like a criminal. Now, you might have an accomplice if you commit a crime, and this means somebody who helps you commit the crime. So a getaway driver from the previous lesson is certainly an accomplice. But sometimes there are two people involved in the murder, and so you say the murderer may have had an accomplice. Okay, petty crimes or minor offences mean not very important crimes. So small crimes, perhaps when shoplifting is a small crime. Usually you don't steal much from a shop when you're shoplifting. I've never understood why anyone would do that, actually. But I suppose sometimes they're addicted to stealing. I think sometimes it's a psychological problem like kleptomania. But these would be petty crimes: shoplifting, pickpocketing. Major offences would be murder, rape, maybe a theft, but something big like when you hold up a bank or a post office. That would be a major offence. And with petty crimes, you go to the magistrate's court. A magistrate is a type of judge, but they're not as high as a judge. They're lower down, and so they deal with minor offences. Whereas the Crown Court, this is the Crown, this is the royal family getting involved. The Crown Court deals with major offences, as I say, like rape, murder, drug dealing, if it's a huge amount of drugs, maybe. In fact, even that I think is usually the magistrate's court. But yeah, rape and murder, something like that, would certainly be the Crown Court. Now, the police will put you in handcuffs if they think you have committed a crime. If you're getting angry and you're fighting back, if you're lashing out at policemen, lash out at means attack somebody. Lash out at somebody, it means attack somebody. So if you're lashing out at policemen, if you're fighting back, they may need to restrain you. And to restrain you, they may need to pin you down. Pin somebody down means hold somebody down on the ground. And so you would call that restraining somebody as well. So I think they often have to do this, Now, if the police have sufficient evidence to bring your case to trial, that means that they are able to charge you. They have enough evidence to charge you with some kind of crime, and that means you'll be going to trial. Now, do remember this word trial. I hear a lot of students say process. And while we do say the legal process, we don't usually, and the legal process is the trial, I do agree, we do say the legal process, and it refers to the trial. I don't think you often hear English people, natives, say the process, meaning the trial, and so I thought I'd just mention that. Now, a courtroom is the place where the trial takes place. It takes place in the courtroom. So it might be the Crown Court, it might be the Magistrates' Court, depends on the severity of the crime. And if you're in a Crown Court, you'll certainly have a judge, not a magistrate. A magistrate is a type of judge, but a judge is who you get in the Crown Court, and you get a jury as well. You don't get a jury in a Magistrates' Court, but you do get a judge and a jury in the Crown Court. And you'll probably have a prosecution lawyer, who's the lawyer trying to show that the accused person is guilty, and you get the defense lawyer who's trying to defend the accused person and show everybody that the accused